As you heard in that report, Ohio Governor John Kasich is hanging his entire campaign on his home state. Kasich has repeatedly expressed a loss in the Buckeye State would be the end of the line for him. But he did get support this week from a very unlikely source, GOP rival and Florida Senator Marco Rubio, who is asking his supporters to vote for Kasich in Ohio. The Rubio campaign saying it believes Kasich is the only candidate who can stop Trump in Ohio. According to a new Fox News poll, that may be true. Kasich is leading Trump by 5 points. Jack Torrey is the D.C. bureau chief of the Columbus Dispatch, and he joins us now. Jack, thank you so much for joining us.
Glad to be here.
I want to put this poll up on our screen, the one that we were talking about, and we see that Kasich, it's beyond the margin of error, is leading 34% to Donald Trump's 29%. But I want to ask you, if the Ohio voters do in fact select Governor Kasich, is that a speed bump for Donald Trump, or is that a wall for Donald Trump, for lack of better words? What type of an effect would that have on his campaign?
Well, I think the actual effect would be this is part of a growing Republican strategy to stop Trump. They need Rubio to win Florida and Kasich to carry Ohio. And there's this little unwritten detente going on between the two campaigns. Rubio's not advertising in Ohio. Kasich is not advertising.
But what's their end goal there? Is there a brokered convention at the end of that line?
Yes, they see that as their only hope at stopping him. John Kasich cannot get the 1,237 electoral votes. He'd have to win like 85% of all the outstanding delegates to come up. So he's hoping, and Rubio's hoping, to get in there and get a brokered convention. And the only way to do that is to guarantee that you stop Trump in certain states and hope that Trump stops himself in other ways.
I had seen a piece on your website, and it said there's good news for Kasich and there's bad news for Kasich. If he does not win, that's the end of his campaign. But like you said, then what? Then what does the GOP establishment do?
Cry? I mean,
no other tactics? So the brokered convention, is that really an effective tool?
It's a far more effective tool than having a man at the top of the ticket who right now has about a 60% disapproval rating nationally and will have a great deal of trouble. I'm talking about Mr. Trump.
Right.
Will have a great deal of difficulty of winning the votes of women, Hispanics, and African Americans. We saw that in 2012, where Mitt Romney ran poorly among those groups. You can't rerun the 2012 election and hope to win. So, and the point is, there aren't enough angry white guys out there to elect him. So the Republicans know this. Mitch McConnell has told his people, if Trump is nominated, you run your own races for re-election.
Okay, so we're running that hypothetical, but let's run the other hypothetical, because these are winner-take-all states.
Correct.
So there's 367 delegates up for grabs, but both Ohio and Florida on Tuesday are winner-take-all. That's 66 and 99 delegates. What if Trump gets both these states?
Then I would say it's going to be almost impossible for the Republicans to stop him, that he'll be the nominee. And that'll put the Republicans in a very difficult spot in Cleveland.
Right.
They either get behind him or they launch a third-party candidacy. And the state election laws are very hard to do that. It's one of the reasons former New York Mayor Michael Bloomberg chose not to get in this, because it's a very difficult thing to do. But the Republicans nationally are scared to death of this guy.
From your experience in covering campaigns, obviously this is unprecedented, the rhetoric that we've seen, and it's obviously been ratcheted up. What type of an effect do you think, especially with the recent violence that we've seen, the violence or the uptick in protesters in the past 24 hours, what type of an effect is that going to have ahead of Tuesday? There are some people who are undecided voters, and there are some people who may see this tactic by the GOP and find it appealing.
I think there's a lot of it. I think one of the ways to do it is look back at the 1968 election, where George Wallace unleashed a lot of the similar types of emotions. It wasn't called America First, but it was pretty close to making Let's Make America Great Again. And those emotions really shook the country in 1968. Eventually, though, the country chose between Richard Nixon and Hubert Humphrey, and they selected Mr. Nixon. I think you can see the same type of thing happening here. What happened in Chicago last night is a real scary thing for a lot of national Republicans, because Trump, it's almost like he went and saw Broderick Crawford in All the King's Men to watch, here's how to do this. If you watch that film, you will see Willie Stark, the Crawford character, appealing to all the basic instincts of his supporters and unleashing a lot of emotions. And once you do that, you don't know where it's going to end.
I would say that that is one way to sum up what we've seen, unleashing a lot of emotions. It's been a very turbulent campaign. We appreciate you coming on, Jack Torrey, D.C. Bureau Chief. It's very interesting. I hope that we have you back, and we'll certainly have all eyes on Ohio, among other states, on Tuesday.
Great.
Thank
Glad
you
to be
so
here.
much.